Here you go, brothers and sisters. Here's a nice picture of Luffy getting all ready to give somebody the middle finger, all ready to jam his fist right up somebody's ass. Maybe Wapol, I don't know. If you like this and more, remember to follow me on all the social networks. One Piece, Chapter 150. Royal Drum Crown 7-Shot Tin Tyrant Cannon.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action and epic and just wonderfully written tale of One Piece. This has to be the longest title of any chapter thus far. This chapter, chapter 150, is called the Royal Drum Crown 7-Shot Tin Tyrant Cannon. Now you try to say that 5 times fast. But ultimately, this is it is kind of cool. It's a very action-packed one, and I tell you, I just cannot, after this particular chapter, or really any other, I cannot take Wapol seriously. Some of the villains that you see in One Piece are just a little bit goofy. This guy, it's not so much that he's goofy. He's a big pompous ass. And he has nothing to back it up with, as far as I'm concerned. The Munch Munch fruit is kind of neat and maybe would be cool in someone else's hands, but it's wasted on this idiot. So, but anyway, we'll get into it. The last chapter left us with, of course, Chessmarimo being handily defeated by Chopper, and then us noticing that Wapol had disappeared and had left. It looks like he had left town or got out of Dodge, whatever you want to say. So that's where this one picks up, and we have them saying, Luffy going, oh, where's Wapol, And Sanji says, yeah, he took off when you were all starry-eyed, all goo-goo over, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over Chopper and his transformation thing. And he's like, oh, that dirty son of a, what. And then Sanji thinks about it, and they're like, well, Kureha, first of all, Kureha says, she's like, he got up here on that hairy hippo, and so he can't get back down. He's got to be somewhere up here. So then all of a sudden they think about it, like, what if he got into the castle, right? And Sanji's actually the one who thinks about that, because he's a man whore and his little girlfriend wannabe Nami is in there resting, of course, recovering. So that's kind of where we come to the conclusion of is that, he must have gone inside the castle, or maybe he got in there somehow. So then it goes and it flashes to the inside of the castle, and Wapol is, in fact, in the castle, and he sees, he looks in, like, the main area where you can see the spires, the spire going up on the inside with the stairwells and the ledges and everything, and sees that everything's covered over in snow for the most part, and he's like, what have they done to my castle, and he's just his normal pompous-ass self. And then we go and we see Nami, who is gotten up out of bed, and she's like, you know what, I can't handle this anymore. While they're busy or doing whatever, I got to get away from here. I've been in bed for 3 days already, or whatever she says. And, so she's going to sneak out of the room. So as she goes and exits her room and goes to close the door, and she's out on this little balcony or whatever, she goes and sees Wapol, and Wapol's like, oh, another Straw Hat Pirate, huh? And Nami being, the liar and the quick-thinking person that she is, she's a thief, and she's a combination of, like, a thief and then, like, an Usopp, where she's real quick and just kind of tells a tale. And she's like, no, I'm just an innocent girl, just a navigator passing through and, blah, 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 trying not to get his attention. And Wapol's just like, liar, and he comes after her, tries to just jump up the stairs and nail her. And she winds up, getting out of the way and kind of running back down the stairs. And he's all like, oh, geez, I must have put on some weight over here. Because remember, he's kind of like this short, fat-looking, character or whatever. So then he goes and he's like, oh, no big deal. I'll just eat myself. And listen, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to get into it, but there's just so many jokes right there with that one that you can just sort of fill in the blanks on that one as you please. Because depending on your age, life experience, maybe maturity level, there's a number of different jokes that could come from a guy in this manga saying, I'm going to eat myself. So he does. He goes and he devours himself, and then looks like he's just in this helmet, this bucket basically, and then goes and he's talking to himself about how, this and that, and this is my super slim down, so this is like a total slim fast. This is better than what Alvida did, apparently, because you can just do it. I guess you can do it on command. So he kind of goes in this bucket, sort of goes hopping or falling down the stairs, getting closer to Nami, and Nami's like, what the hell? It's just a bucket. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, he appears out of this thing, and he's like tall and slender looking, and so it's really kind of comical because now he looks... Tell you the truth, now I think he actually looks goofier because at least before he sort of had that trademark appearance and look to him as sort of being this just, frumpy looking, guy. And now he just sort of has this tall, skinny, demeanor, and he almost looks like a creepy sort of like, I look at children through binoculars, that type of creepy. So again, just my observations. But so then we go and we get, as he's going to go and come at Nami or whatever, and because he's now thin and and fit and he can chase after, and he goes to come after her. All of a sudden, man, we just boom, he just gets blindsided, and by who? Our boy Luffy, and it's kind of cool because you go and you see Luffy and like one of the jacket that Nami gave him, like one arm is ripped off, but Luffy, who was a skinny little fucker at the beginning of 150 chapters ago, and he's still a thin framed fellow, boy, he hulks up a little bit over there, man, because when he goes in this scene where he pops him, man, you can just look, he looks like he's pumping, so he's got some guns that he's using over there. So he winds up nailing Wapol, and then Nami goes and she's like, Luffy, what the hell did you do to my jacket? She's like, that damn thing, it cost 28,800 berries, She's like, you know what? And then he's like, sorry, I got shot by a cannon and this and that. And she's like, you know what? It's all right. I figured if I gave it to you, it'd probably get ruined anyway. You just owe me 3 times as much plus interest. So we'll, 100,000 berries and we'll call it even, right? And he's like, hey, that's not fair. You planned this the whole time. So it's funny to me, little exchanges like that happen. I do. I think it's very funny, and I think that the humor that you can have in the middle of this battle is great. So we wind up getting Wapol goes and kind of runs off again, and he goes over and he's by these big double doors, and he's just like, this is the armory, where I've got all my weapons, and I'm gonna go in and he monologues, he like villains do, and he's like, and I'm gonna go in there and eat them all up, and then use my transformative power of the munch fruit to be able to have all these different weapons and cannons and what have you to kill you, right? So he's like, and I'm the only one that possesses the key, and now I'm going to go into the fear room, and then all of a sudden he's like, what? Where's the key, right? We go and we flash back over and we see Nami the thief, and Nami's like, oh, I thought this key was for the treasure room or something like that, just for his stupid guns room or his armory. So Nami, obviously, in somewhere in the exchange when he was coming at her, one of the 2 times, she lifted the thing from him, So he goes and then he's just like, oh, no matter, and he goes and takes off, and Luffy's like, hey, get back here, and then you kind of see a zoomed out shot of the castle, and you just kind of hear like, just like these little, like basically they're running up and running after each other, and in the castle, like something kind of out of a cartoon almost. So then Wapol goes and he bursts out onto, maybe like the top of the castle, one of the spires, the parapets, the towers, whatever you want to call them. He gets out there, and that's where this thing comes into play, this Royal Drum Crown 7-shot Tin Tyrant Cannon. I tried remembering that thing, and it's like 9 words, and it doesn't. Royal Drum Crown, okay, I got that part right, 7-shot Tin Tyrant Cannon. So he goes outside, and there's this thing, it looks like this giant, almost like Gatling gun. I mean, it's really cool looking, and the 7-shot thing comes from, obviously, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 in the middle. And so he's going and getting behind this thing and getting ready to go and fire it, and Luffy comes bursting out after him, of course, and he's now, I caught you type of thing, and he's getting ready to just like prepare to, take my Royal Crown Drum Shot 7-shot Tin Tyrant Cannon, whatever you want to call it, and he's, basically doing his, I'm going to kill you now. And he goes to fire the thing, and it turns out that, at least the way it looks to me, well, there's birds that have nested inside the cannon, so apparently it is not operational. And at least that's what it, again, looks like to me, because we got him over here, and he's going, let's see here, and he's trying to fire this thing off at Luffy, and it is just not working out for him, So he's a little bit pissed off. Luffy goes, and I love this line too, because he keeps talking about how I'm a king, you dare mock me, I'm the ruler of the Drum Kingdom. And then Luffy's just like, I don't care if you're a kingdom or not. There are things that matter more than power, right? And then it's really cool because we wind up getting, right before we get, Luffy going and like he's going to, the ends and he's going to nail him, it goes back outside and Chopper's there and he's just kind of standing there like bewildered, and almost like in shock still from his fight with Chessmarimo, just kind of standing there in his cute little form. And then we get Kureha, and she's just kind of like looking at him like, what's wrong? And you can see how much this affected and touched Chopper. And that's why I think this is so cleverly woven, because then Chopper goes and he's like, he said he was my friend, So from a few chapters ago when Luffy went, and defended his honor and held up Dr. Hairlook's flag, raised it back up, and then, of course, stood and defended it and took a cannon shot from him. And then when he go and Luffy dove down and said that, it was really profound, I think, to say that, I'm his friend because, Chopper doesn't have any friends. And he kind of exists with Dr. Kureha, but he doesn't really have any friends. And at least in the traditional sense that you would say. So I thought that was very touching, what he did. And then it comes out of it, and and Luffy's over there, and he's just like, because I'm a pirate. So, and he's pretty much tells him right after that, he goes, there are things that matter more than power, and blah blah. And then it's kind of neat because he goes and he comes at him, and of course we got he called me my friend or his friend, and then I just love that at the end scene, we got, let's see if we can get that in there, so of Luffy. And he's just like, because I'm a pirate, and shit's about to go down, right? So, but my chapter question though is what did you think of that exchange as far as as far as Kureha being out there, and then of course Chopper just kind of being like, he called me his friend, to me it was profound, and it really showed that Luffy again was able to go and kind of draw somebody in with his his courage and some of the things that he stands up for. I mean, we've seen it, time and time again, obviously, with Nami and with Usopp. And, it really is. He has, as dim-witted as he can be at times, he can certainly draw people in, and he certainly has a way with people and really being able to kind of, I guess, touch their hearts in an emotional way and make that connection with them. Because, Chopper, I feel like you could have offered him all the money in the world and fame and fortune and everything else, and he wouldn't have come with you or joined the crew, and he still hasn't. But I think now this solidified the fact that he's going to join the crew. I mean, you saw what he did, and you saw how it touched Chopper, and then, of course, at the end, him saying, I have a friend. So let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
As always, brothers and sisters, thank you so much for watching the videos, commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing, and spreading the word of the nation. Here's a little bit of a throwback picture from, the Don Krieg Baratie saga.